Hey everybody, Shane here with daily-astrocat.com, and I'm so glad to see everybody here. Thank you so much for joining me, and make sure you stay tuned to the entire presentation, okay? This is a big week when we're going to have a new moon in Aquarius, so thank you for joining me. I really, really appreciate every single one of you. Let's go. So we're going to start off this week with there's me. All right, the new moon in Aquarius. What's going on? What are we looking at? What is going to happen? What do we think is going to happen, right? Let's talk about this, okay? Because this is kind of cool. I like it when I hit things and it doesn't work. Okay, so our moon phase is new, okay? And the moon is new in Aquarius on Wednesday, the 29th. All right, so Happy New Year to all of our Asian friends out there and everyone else, because it's the Lunar New Year, right? We're going to talk about that in a second. New Moon Tribe, that's us, that's me, right? Dances and sings. Come and join us. New beginnings and initiatives will certainly flourish, but it's going to take time, just so you know, okay? Now, welcome to the Year of the Snake. Well, yeah, it's the Year of the Snake. Happy New Year, everybody. So let's talk about this. What about a snake? What is it about a snake? Well, as you may or may not know, the Chinese zodiac has 12 animals, and the animals all follow in sequence. This is the sixth one. This is the snake. And there's 5 elements in the Chinese zodiac, so they repeat every 60 years. So this is the year of the wood snake. Now, wood is one of the elements in Chinese astrology, or Chinese zodiac here. And wood snakes, according to my sources, can be charming, intelligent, and creative, but they can also be secretive, cunning, and ruthless. Sounds kind of Scorpio-ish, right? Yeah, it does. That's for us Western folks. Anyway, what kind of year is 2025 expected to be according to the Chinese zodiac? Well, it's one of growth, wisdom, and transformation. It's also one of intuition, mystery, and introspection. Think about it. The snake is known for shedding his skin. They're kind of like assumed to be baby dragons, right? So they're very, very, it's a good thing. And me being a rat, we get along well with snakes. So that's going to be a good thing. Thank you so much. So there we go. A little bit of a Chinese zodiac primer to you. Now, back in the day, I used to quite frequently fold in the Chinese New Year with the things that the cats were talking about. And a lot of the times, accompanying, say like the sun or the moon on her journeys was the animal of the year. And as the year progressed, that animal would be growing and becoming into its full self. So it'd start off as a tiny little baby, and then it would actually just go into where it would become its full adult self, right, as it matured throughout the year. It was kind of an interesting concept, and it worked well with some of the stories. That's just an aside, though. This week features a lunation. Astrologers love this word, right? It's the first new moon of 2025. Now, should qualify this, we're not talking about Chinese astrology here. We're talking about modern Western astrology. We just love to fold all these things all together because that's what makes it modern, right? I can pretty much get it all going. It's how I work intuitively. So, it's a lunation. We love that word. That means it's either a full moon or a new moon. It's the first new moon of 2025, and this, along with Mercury's ingress into Aquarius, that's another word astrologers love. This concentrates the energies that are already present in Aquarius. We asked this question last week. Is it the beginning of the new age of Aquarius? Is it the age of Aquarius? You may see a little snake nodding in agreement. Those are transformational signs, right? Like we just learned. There have been signs of this since the Great Conjunction of 2021. See, I did ask that question last week. And now, if it were the age of Aquarius, if this were the beginning of the age of Aquarius, what would that actually mean? I don't know. I think that's going to be definitely need a further discussion, a longer discussion. Hey, maybe it's inventive use of technology. Yeah, that's going to continue to dominate our headlines and our lives. Chat this, AI that, GPT, whatever, right? Just be careful. I'm constantly correcting any AI-generated content that I use. Just ask Carrie, okay? Now, our first aspect we want to talk about is the Mercury sextile Neptune. Well, what do we have here? We've got ourselves a chart. Oh, you use charts, Shane? Yes, I do. Here we go. We can see right here that we've got Mercury and Neptune, and they got that little line between them. That's a sextile, okay? It's that yellow line on this chart right here. And you can see that they're at 27 degrees of their respective signs, right? Pisces and Capricorn. That means Mercury is at 27 degrees, going to be moving into Aquarius this week, which we did note before. And what is this going to do? What does this do for us? What does this speak to us of, okay? Ignore the clock face. We're just talking about the actual aspect here. The Mercury being very close to Pluto, so we've got Pluto drug into this as well. And Neptune. This is a great use of imagination, right? This is something that we're going to be really looking forward to putting to use. And it's going to come into play all week long. This is a very creative week. We've got our moon, moon's in Capricorn. So we've got our moon in Capricorn moving towards Aquarius. That's when the moon's going to be new anyway. And it's going to move into Pisces during the week as well. So it's a very creative week with that moon moving through those last few signs. Yeah, it's going to give us some great uses of technology, some great uses of our patience and our work ethic, and that creative ability. We also have on the same day, hold on a second, boop, 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 go back. The Venus sextile Uranus. So this is going to be another change that we're talking about. And here we have Venus and Uranus. Now, we saw that the Mercury and Neptune were up here as the day progressed, right? Because this actually happens later on in the day. That was earlier in the day. So here we have this right here. You know this because this is our horizon line. This is where the sun rises and sun sets. I use Eastern Standard Times because that's where I live, for the United States. You can adjust your times accordingly, all right? This is where we have Venus in Pisces and Uranus in Taurus. Now, let's think about this. Mercury and Neptune, Venus and Uranus. Oh my, right? The patient and practical meets up with the creative. Sunday is going to find us trying to use our traditional methods to produce what it is that we do. Tradition, right? That's because we've just got that tradition going on. We have Mercury and Neptune, but we have Mercury in Capricorn. That's why we end up exercising our creative thought processes traditionally. Now, look, it's what we have to do because the tried and true process is what we need to rely on. We can't be futzing with it, especially at crunch time. The Mars and Venus trine means that you may be able to elicit some feedback from a significant other. Imagine that. Oh, yes, you might. Okay, so you might be able to get something. Venus in Pisces and Uranus in Taurus sextile, that's going to represent an enticement of sorts, right? Look, there's still a bit of volatility out there, especially in the markets. The cryptosphere, those non-centralized, those decentralized assets, investments, they're rising, but not without a lot of hiccups, right? There's uncertainty that's definitely in the air. So what's so enticing? Maybe it's you. Our love for our creative process will certainly attract new fans. Just don't go too wild trying to spice up the mix. Those spices will be added organically and will approximately match your growth, especially later on. All right, so now we're going to talk about our favorite topic, living the lunar life. This is one of our topics. It's hard not to get really excited by this new moon in Aquarius. Oh, trust me, I'm excited. We will need to trust our intuition, however, and wait. This doesn't mean we ignore the signals of the new moon. No, we need to embrace the spirit of the snake, however. We mix it with some spiritual Saturn that's sitting in Pisces, and then we distill that through Mars in Cancer. Yeah, it's a waiting game, right? We're gonna snake this, right? We're gonna transform and grow with this. Just don't rush it, okay? Now, one thing I'd like you to rush, though, is take the time to like this video and smash that subscribe button. Help make the video the embodiment of my high tide dream. I keep on talking about that because that's the vision I have for myself and for you. The high tide lifts all boats. Elevate yourself. Elevate the channel. Let's go swimming together. All right, so our second aspect is Mercury entering Aquarius. We used this image last week. I particularly like it. And here we go. Let's talk about this. Here's where Mercury is going to enter into Aquarius. You'll see that Pluto is sitting right there. Pluto is sitting at 1 degree, 58 minutes, almost 2 minutes, almost 2 whole degrees. Oh my goodness, not minutes, 2 degrees into Aquarius. Mercury, enters in, right? So, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Well, let's see. Mercury in Aquarius frees us to speak our minds. Will we find our voice in the cacophony of propaganda and misinformation? Just check out your feeds, right? Especially, we don't even want to name any names. How can we communicate our ideas, right? Will we communicate our ideas? Can and will. Will new social media emerge from this? It sure will. There's some degree of public disdain for the unabashed displays of wealth, access, and power that have begun to surface. Yeah, those pictures are kind of creepy, right? These power elites will try to absorb the new entities like Cronus consuming his offspring. Look, you got to tell them to eat the rocks, right? Aquarius is like Mars in a way. Doesn't like to go in reverse. I would expect to see and hear more about the innovators who will compete with this current cabal. All right, so Mercury conjunct Pluto. Ooh, what do we got here? Well, let's talk about this. Here we have Mercury conjunct Pluto. It's going to happen at nighttime. That's how you can tell by this chart, at least here on the East Coast. It might happen during the day where you're at in the world because we got people all over the world watching us, and I appreciate and love every single one of you. Thank you. Now, Mercury meets Pluto. Is this the game change? Is this a game changer? Or does this just make things worse since Uranus is in Taurus? The way I see it, my cosmology, Mercury is very impressionable, and he's wary of Pluto. He's just kind of a nervous Nelly just going, now, Mercury knows that Mars is going to have the upper hand in April. How does he know that? Because the moon is going to pass over and let Mercury know this, right? But Mercury has a sense of this anyway, because there's all sorts of signals out there. Mercury talks to everybody. Pluto knows this. Pluto knows this in his bones. He knows that Mars will be passing by one more time. And sure, they create a lot of changes and stuff like that. But this next change coming up, the action, it's going to be more action and less dissolution, okay? It's going to be a bit more constructive. There's something that has to die in order to be reborn, and that's how that phoenix comes back, right? That's Mars in Cancer, and that's Mars emerging into Leo. That's that archetype of the phoenix that we're talking about, and that's a very apt metaphor for that. Now, look, to Pluto, think about it. Money's power. To Mercury, that money is a means to engage in commerce. That's trade, right? That's what we trade. Pluto thinks that holding on to it is what the power is. To Uranus, money simply means freedom. That's what it means. It means we're free to do whatever we have to do. Now, we're going to see some new social media networks established. That's what we're going to see. We're going to see that because this is what's going to happen with Mercury meeting up with Pluto. This is something that's going to be like, hey, we need a different way to communicate. Now, wait for this one, okay? Because here's a good one for you. I believe the oligarchs are going to try to take over organized religion by flooding their platforms that they control with certain type of messaging. I don't care where you stand on the subject of religion, but this should be concerning to everyone. The algorithms are theirs to manipulate. I don't think that's too far-fetched, to tell you the truth. Now, what is the solution to this cynical viewpoint that I just drew out there? Look no further than my daily AstroCat astrology report for Monday, okay? I would expect to hear about an alternative to the dominant forms of social media. I'd like to suggest a picture-only version where you can only post successive images with no words, and capture them with you can caption them with only emojis. I would call this telepathy. Insert the cry laughing emoji here. All right, so now that I've had my fun, let's talk about Uranus going direct. Oh, Uranus was retrograde? Yes, Uranus was retrograde. All the outer planets are retrograde for roughly half the year. We barely note it. The personal planets, when they go retrograde, those have bigger impacts on us because they're personal planets, right? Mercury, 3 to 4 times a year. Venus every couple of years. Mars every couple of years, right? Venus has a quicker cycle, but we're coming up to both a Venus and a Mercury retrograde. Mars is currently retrograde and won't come out of it until just about the end of February, all right? So we'll have more details on that, of course. It's not the point of here to be an encyclopedia and to give you every date, everything. Things tend to get lost in translation when you do it that way. I prefer to talk to you about it in a conversational style because that's what we have here at daily-astrocat.com is we're engaging in a conversation about astrology. I invite you to reach out in the comments and continue that conversation down there. All right? We can see right here that we have Uranus in Taurus, okay? In Taurus, very close to Gemini. Uranus actually is going direct. Where are we at? 23 degrees, 15 minutes into Taurus, right? So we're getting towards the end of Taurus, and we're going to see Gemini, right? What's this mean? Look, when Uranus goes direct, it's my experience over the last several years that Uranus direct in Taurus has a cooling effect on investment activity. Only because Taurus is such a staid and traditional and conservative sign that Uranus just tends to be lays about. I mean, there's good things in Taurus, right? Think about it. It's where we take our enjoyment of food and meals and fine items in life. It's a Venus ruled sign, and really it's about the finer things. It's about having enough of everything, having enough money, having a great home and a great base. Uranus, oh yeah, that can get definitely, any of the planets can get very placid when they're in Taurus because it's a very content sign, right? It's got a cooling effect on investment activity. It seems to lessen the peaks and troughs, but it certainly doesn't favor decentralized currencies. No, a lot of times when Uranus is direct, those currencies tend to go down. At least that's in my observation, all right? Now, it's not a hard, fast rule. This is not investment advice by any stretch of the imagination. These are just observations that are made with various planets, okay? Now, here's another one about stationary Uranus. It leads to a bit of instability. Being in Taurus, that affects the Earth, right? The Earth's surface. Over the past couple of years, we've noticed that when Uranus is slowing down or speeding up in Taurus or retrograde and making some hard aspects in Taurus, this can indicate earthquakes and extreme weather events, right? Cold and snow in the U.S. this past week could very well be to the stationing effect as Uranus is starting to slow down its retrograde. And, I know this sounds silly, and I don't say this lightly. Just keep an eye out, okay? Keep one eye out. I was once a skeptic as well, so just think about that. All right, now we have our new moon in Aquarius. This is the event of the week, right? This is our marquee event. All right, so beautiful image there, right? Let's see. Now, I love when I do this, when I leave the menu open on the right-hand side for this. Yeah, I do that a lot. This one here, you can see the moon and sun are conjunct. That's what the lunation is. That's what the new moon is. It's a conjunction of the sun and moon. What do we got? Where's it at? Well, it's going to be in Aquarius, obviously. And you can see that here on the East Coast, it's going to happen just after sunrise. So you're not going to see the conjunction because they're nowhere near the nodes of the moon. If it was near the node, that's what we would call an eclipse, all right? But there's no eclipse right now. So it's only when the nodes are there. So the next eclipse we're going to have is probably going to be I think it may very well be in March. So we will see. I haven't looked that far ahead. Okay. Celebrate the moon, light a purple candle, and let's all focus on the changes that are going to benefit everyone individually and society as a whole. Remember, new moons are times of beginnings. We already told you have to temper your beginning with what it is that we are looking at and going through. This is a very technological one for my liking, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be focusing on how we can use innovation and technology to help us. We're going to find other ways of getting our message out there. The new ways people seem to be turning away from, and I don't know if they're having much of an effect on that. However, we want to just make sure that we have all of our bases covered. So keep an eye open for new and emerging platforms for you to be on and for you to reach out and reach new clients, customers, patrons, whatever it is that you do for your side hustle. Now, for us at work, for working lives, school lives, other people like that, this is a good chance for you to really look at what else is happening, where you're going. It's a very intelligent sign, and it's a great sign for us to be able to, utilize what it is that we're doing, right? Now, let's talk about this. There's another cycle that's initiated, right? This is the beginning of Lunar New Year. Right? Chinese New Year, Asian New Year. Celebrate what's unique in you and how you choose to express it, okay? That's what we're going to be doing. There's benefits to have both systems, and we can actually invoke the whole thing and just take it in and use it to help inform how we're going to go about looking at our world, right? That's a wonderful thing. Now, we have the Sun trine Jupiter. What's happening with that? Well, let's talk about this. Sun, Jupiter, trine. Jupiter is that expansive energy, right? It's retrograde at the moment. It's going to be going direct very soon. But, retrograde Jupiter, what are we doing? We're looking at what the expansion is, where we've expanded, what we've done in the past. With the sun being in Aquarius, and we now think about this. Aquarius is innovative, quirky, eccentric, right? What have we done? Maybe it's been a little bit too much. Are we a little too weird? There's no such thing with the sun in Aquarius, right? Yeah, and especially with Jupiter and Gemini, now that's not possible, right? But we do have to rein it in. We do have to keep it within the confines of something, right? Don't get caught up in feeling you got to over-communicate everything. Oops, did I just do that? Process is important. Don't rush to implement anything until you thoroughly test it. That's right. You'll turn people off if you do that. You got to make sure that you're just moving forward. Career-minded folks, you're going to be looking at it like it's a boon, right? It's not. Trust me. They are in a rush to eliminate jobs with AI. They meaning corporate America, corporations around the world. You're going to start seeing it happening, and this is going to be a rough summer for some. Not the bearer of bad news, but I think this is just an inevitability, and we have to learn how to be able to utilize it. We have to learn how to be able to work within those confines and work within that so that we can actually learn new skills and do that. And we have Venus conjunct Neptune. Oh, there we go. Why do I have two women on there? Well, because Poseidon, Neptune, in my world, is female. Female planets are underrepresented. Neptune is a higher vibration of Venus, considered by many astrologers to be that. So why would it be some cranky, smelly, seaweedy sea god? No, let's have it be the sister of Venus on the half shell, right? Absolutely. It doesn't even have to be a sister. Don't care what the relationship is in mythology. It just works better from my perspective to have Neptune as that sometimes moody, sometimes she can get a little, if you hurt her feelings, she can get kind of upset, right? We don't want to do that. Now, what do we have? Well, we've got Venus conjunct Neptune right there. Now, you can see this chart does a bad job of it because they're kind of far apart. However, you can see 27:59 minutes, 27:59 minutes, 16 seconds. That is exact. They don't get any more exact than that. That is what we call in astrology a perfection, another astrology word. That is when that conjunction is perfected. And you can see the moon isn't very far behind either. So this is going to be a big party, okay? And this party is going to be all about creativity. And it's about romance, romantic and creative. Venus loves being in the sign of Pisces. And with the ruler of Pisces, or with the co-ruler of Pisces, remember the other ruler is Jupiter, we have this romantic and creative feeling going right now. This is the Venusian ideal. A life well loved is a life well lived. It is super creative. It is a super creative coupling with the moon in Pisces joining in the frolic. You have it within you to create something beautiful today. The best day for, okay, let's get into our best days now, because let's talk about this. The best day for health is any day you can get yourself to exercise. Simple yoga, that's going to suffice. The best day for romance is Saturday. This is a great opportunity for romance. Venus and Mars are still trine, right? Just don't get too far over your head. And the best day for creativity is also going to be Saturday. The new moon is good for new procedures and approaches. The paint hits the canvas beautifully on Saturday. Now, Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. Make daily-astrocat.com part of your daily routine. The podcast is on YouTube at daily-astrocat.com. Subscribe and click to receive notifications. Have a wonderful week. If you got any questions or comments, put them in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe and, receive notifications. That's good. Happy astrocatting. Thank you so much. Going on camera one more time. Thank you for listening. Bye.